Hi, and welcome to our e-commerce corner. Today we're going to be speaking about what are the benefits of real-time customer insights. And I'm joined today by Maureen Blanford, and she is the author of Moats and Drawbridges. Hello, Maureen. Nice to have you with us.
Delighted to be here.
And also I'm joined by Henrik Fabrin, so he's the CEO of Certainly. Nice to see you too.
Nice to see you, and nice to see you, Maureen. I'm really looking forward to this.
Likewise.
So I was hoping that you could both just introduce yourselves slightly. Maureen, let's start with you.
Okay, great. Delighted to be here. So most of my career, I've been a B2B complex sale go-to-market nerd. I'm now keenly focused on how the data isn't serving us, even though market hype tells us it should be serving us, and really working on driving solutions to solve for that.
That's great. I'm sure you'll bring so much to the table today. It's so great to have you with us. And Henrik, can you also say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure, of course. So I'm one of the two founders of Certainly, and for the past 12 years, I've been working an entrepreneur within e-commerce, building products for e-commerce businesses to help them understand their customers and acquire the right kind of customers, etc. So, and I'm here also to talk about data and how we can help use data towards our customers, provide a better customer experience, but also break down some silos in the organization. We do love a good silo, but let's see if we can also break it down.
Do we love a good silo?
Well, I have built one or two in my time, but you know, it's also good to break them down, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. I just want to say to those watching here with us today that we will have a Q&A as well at the end of the session. So please go ahead, don't hesitate, just write some questions here down for Maureen and Henrik, and we'll love to answer those. It is a short session today, it's 25 minutes, so we'll try and keep it short and sweet as much as we can, but hopefully give some valuable insight to those watching us. And thank you for joining us today as well. So I'm just going to kick it off, and I'm going to say the first question, and I would like Henrik, if that's okay, if you can answer the first question today, which is how does a business access to real live customer insights? So how does it get access? How do we get access to the data?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So I think I'm going to focus on online businesses, right? So that's sort of where the realm of where we're in, and there's different kind of real-time data. There's the sort of the first-party data that you get, sort of the stream of data of where are people on your site, what are they clicking on, etc. That's one type. Then there's the new holy grail, which is zero-party data, which is the data that you get from having actual conversations with consumers on your website. That can be via live chat, but it can also be with our technology, where you can have AI-powered conversation with your visitors before they purchase, after they purchase. So that is a big change, because the technology is now able to support that. So suddenly at scale, you have much more live data directly coming from the horse's mouth, or the horses' mouth, the people who are actually considering buying from you. So, and that's a big topic for us. To how do you turn that data into actual insights and revenue and customer satisfaction?
For those watching today, could you give a little bit more in-depth about different kinds of data? So I know there's zero-party, there's third-party cookies. Can you perhaps just explain a little bit for those watching today? If they don't know, I'm sure most do, but just it's fantastic to clear it.
Sure. So there's third-party data, first-party, and zero-party. Third-party data is the data that you use when you're targeting someone on Facebook based on what behavior they've done on Facebook, and that's what is problematic now, because you're not able to do that to the same extent. Then first-party is when they're then on your website. So what are they clicking on? What pages are they on, etc. And then there's the next level, which is zero-party data. So through the conversation, you unveil, you understand them at an even deeper level. Because I mean, Maureen, she was complimenting my sweater here before the call. and my point, I like the sweater as well. My point is, same Henrik, different needs. I was there yesterday to buy this sweater. Today at the store, on the store, today I'm there because I forgot it's my fiance's birthday on Saturday and I need something here now. So same Henrik, very different needs. So through zero-party data, you can actually tap into that real time, help me buy the right product, or it can help you in your organization understand customers better. And that's where it becomes really interesting also for this topic in the different departments. How do you then leverage that data to be more efficient or have competitive edge, etc.
So that's data that customers give themselves, which of course
is exactly voluntarily.
So
yeah, exactly. So they give you that data because they're giving you it through conversation because they want help with understanding your product or whether it's right for them or whatever concerns they have. So they're voluntarily giving you that, and that's gold in terms of obviously understanding why are they there, right, and what's important.
And Maureen, I suppose my next question is for you. How do we understand data internally in organizations? It's a little bit of a different insight to Henrik's, where we see that through web shops, but how do we see it in a more B2B outlook?
Well, yeah, and B2B and even B2C, our people need to be talking to each other. And so what we've found, and one of the things that's near and dear to my heart, is your functional area teams, so your product folks, your marketing folks, your sales folks, your success people, those teams all have insights that the other teams need, but we're not sharing today. And we're not sharing because we're terrible people. It's just that's not our muscle memory because we've been in silos and our tech is in silos. So it's often hard for the success or the support team to know what's going on in product. So it's very important that we start on the human side, that we start talking more about the data that we have. But the other piece that I think that the Certainly team really gets right is, as consumers, we're all interacting with bots every day, and we're all frustrated by them every day because the design of them doesn't keep us as humans at the fore. And so the other way that we get those insights, we need great tech, but then we need kind of the design human interaction later to be human so that we feel like the bots know us. And that's a really key piece so that Henrik, when he's buying something for himself or his fiance, that the conversational commerce piece understands that. And that's hard to get right.
It is, and I can actually give an example of also in terms of the different insights in different organizations. So one of our customers, a fashion brand, affordable luxury fashion brand, what they could see in the data was that people on their product pages, they were asking their bots a lot about, so what's the model in that picture wearing? Because you look at the model to see if that model skinnier, you wider, what's the body type, and they didn't know that in the commercial team in the e-commerce. That information was with the creative team who created who took the pictures, who dressed the models, etc. So they were able to say, we need that information. Different silos, and as much as I love silos, we actually help them break that up and say, look, whenever you dress there's something, we need to get that information to the commercial team and in the bot. So like you said, Maureen, that when you're then on that page, you get that information because that's an important piece of information in your buying journey. And that was something that the organization would not have discovered. So that's really powerful. And that's a good example of how to leverage that data, actually.
Absolutely.
I suppose that really links into my next question, and is what is the consequences today for not actually having sufficient data within organizations?
Well, for me, more data isn't the solution. We're drowning in data, often unintegratable data. So not having the right data that you need at your fingertips is not a great competitive advantage to be in. So for me, the two biggest challenges are your profitability and the long-term success and health of your business. And the thing I want to assure everybody is if you think you're alone struggling with these issues, you're not. There are very few organizations slaying, like maybe 1% globally. So a couple of research studies that have been out recently, and I want to point to MuleSoft here, which is certainly team will include in the follow-up conversations. But MuleSoft does a great job documenting that getting data out of silos, driving a truly connected customer experience, and app integration, huge issues worldwide.
Apologies, I think we're losing you.
Oh, you lost my audio?
Great, you're back, Maureen.
Okay.
I
So
lost a little bit. Don't worry, this is the day we're living in right now.
It absolutely is. So I'm not sure what you heard and what you didn't, but your profitability and long-term health of your business. There's great research from MuleSoft, which the team is going to include in the follow-up information. But three highlights from that research are, it's not just you struggling with these issues. These are challenges worldwide.
I think it might be my end.
Henrik, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, Maureen. So
okay, great.
Just continue. Yeah.
Okay, so
it must be my end. My apologies.
No
just
worries.
Keep going, Maureen, and
getting out of silos,
follow on.
driving a truly connected customer experience, and app integrations are huge issues worldwide, which is why I think we need some more point solutions that integrate to help us get to those insights. So hopefully we got most of that. No worries. Henrik, does that resonate for you?
Yeah, it does.
Definitely.
And MC, I think you're maybe lacking a little bit, so in terms of where me and Maureen are. So I'm just going to jump on the conversation, if that's okay.
Of course, and apologies my end. There's something wrong with the internet, so please continue.
No, that's how it is. Absolutely, Maureen, and it's also it's in our organization as well, right? So internally here, being able to leverage the data between the different departments is super important. It's also important. Customers, I was in London yesterday with a round table with 20 large retailers there, and one of the top three questions was, how do we get this data out? How do we use it across our organization? How do we get out of legacy systems? And how do we use it to provide better customer experiences? And it is really hard. And it's not a lack of wanting to, it can just be very difficult. And if you don't do it, it turns into a bad customer experience. And us as consumers, we're very unforgiving. We want something, everything, want it here, want it now. And if you fail us a little bit, we can be very unforgiving in how we then talk about you as a brand. So it is really a competitive advantage, hugely, to be able to leverage that kind of data from the different places in the organization and the different systems.
Absolutely.
And there's also, I think, one of the.
I hope my connection is. Apologies. I hope my connection is slightly better now. I'm not sure if it is, but that really resonated with me, and it brings me to thinking about what is the cost, of course, to increase this efficiency and using this data in the right way. What is the cost, both for the organisation and also internally? So that doesn't have to be financial, for instance.
No, I think of course there's. I will turn around. So I think the cost of being more efficient is much less than the opportunity cost, or the cost of not being efficient, not being able to use it. Because you're starting to see a graph that is like this, where you have companies that are not leveraging it, they're falling behind, and then companies that are, the compound effect of using data and being more connected in that sense just creates a compounding effect in terms of competitive edge, because again, they can drive more revenue for them. If they have more revenue, then they can plow that into growing their companies even more, right? So it is, and I think, Maureen, you also talk a little bit about the cost also in terms of the organization, also the cost of being less efficient in terms of manpower, etc. Maybe you can talk to that a little bit as well.
Yeah, this is so hard to quantify, but it's really important. The thing I care a lot about is when you've got expensive people cobbling together data, what aren't they doing strategically? So you've hired really key people to add to the value of your business, and they're trapped pulling data out of systems, manipulating in Excel maybe, or bringing in data engineers, or bringing in someone who's sitting next to them. And we waste so much time on the suboptimal sort of data infrastructure. And even if you're not an older organization dealing with legacy, there's these two reports I'm just thrilled with. So Fivetran and MuleSoft will include, but I think the MuleSoft report talks about the apps are just exploding and we haven't improved integration. So however old your business is, you're in a tough spot and you need customer insights to be able to act quickly on turning down what's not working and turning up what is working.
Exactly, and most people don't realize that if they spend one workday on stitching something together, like talked about, it's not only spending time that, they also missed a full day work on something that could have provided 2 days work. That's the real cost of it.
Yes.
And I think that's underrated or underappreciated.
It is, absolutely. So it's worth, as business owners and business leaders, when you're thinking about cost, and possibly you're debating that with your exec team. I know the cost of some of these tools can be challenging to fit in, but looking at this piece and how fast your business can grow is huge and needs to be a part of those conversations. What are we losing by not doing this thing?
Exactly. We just had a customer going live, a famous influencer launching a new D2C brand in the US, and because we were part of that technology stack, they were able to gather insights from their consumers much faster, like 250,000 conversations in 2 weeks. And most of the questions got answered. So that meant that they could really quickly iterate on the product and their offering and how they're explaining the product based on that impact. And at the same time, they could move the cost they would have spent on support and services to actually growing the business back into growth and hiring people for that type of roles instead of people for different kind of roles. And so it's the same thing there. Yeah.
100%.
And how with different kinds of roles, it's quite normal, unfortunately, to have organizational silos in that regard, that you have marketing, you have sales, etc., etc. So Maureen, my next question, how can data help to break down those silos? So
the data is key, the tools are key, but the thing that we've forgotten, and this is not due to those of you running businesses, this is due to kind of the tech founder ecosystem and the market at large, which is overselling automation, let's say. So the tech can be great, and without the human overlay of us discussing it together as teams, it can only get us so far. So we need the right data, but then we need to make time to be discussing it cross-functionally as teams and what are people seeing. And there is magic in those conversations. So when I'm working with clients on their data and when they're getting together to look at the data, the thing I tell them is a day or two ahead of time, everybody needs to look at that data and verify it. So the real meeting day is a conversation about the data you've all verified already. So the human piece, super important. I could talk all day about that, but I'll stop.
And I think you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right in that too. And you get an enormous amount of data. So key for technology is to help you surface the data that is relevant for you, and then you use the human brain power, etc., to make decisions based on that data. So those are the important discussions, not how to dig up the data or how to stitch two systems together. That shouldn't be what your team is spending time on. Spend time on what you're talking about there. Exactly, Marie. 100%.
And from a human team perspective, I just want to do this one more reassurance as I look to reassure people also that we're all in the same boat. As you start to bring these new tools on board and you set them up, just also know that it's not magic overnight. So if you're overhauling your bot on how you do conversational commerce with folks who are on your site, and you're gonna build hypotheses as a team about the results that you're looking for. And your early hypotheses are often going to be wrong because you're making them with the data that you have, and that's okay. So in these processes, also expect that it's a little messy up front, but have faith that things start to fall into place, but they won't fall into place unless you as a team start having those conversations. Is that what you all find?
Yeah, and things take time, of course, if you are applying new processes as well. So of course that's essential as well, to give yourself that period of time to make those changes internally. I was wondering, we mentioned many times that we're going to make a community throughout this discussion, and I realized I didn't point out exactly what we were planning to do. So we're actually going to share all these fantastic insights that Maureen and Henrik have shared with us today. We're going to send some links, and we're actually going to make a group on LinkedIn. So I hope all that attended today can be with as well. And we'll do a nice follow-up email as well. So we really want to make this a community thing. And we are, of course, doing our Ecom Corner quite regularly. So I know our next session is on the 7th of April, and I hope that everyone can join. But I would love to now go into our question and answer session, as we only have 4 minutes left. It's gone really, really quickly, and I have to apologize. Yeah, apologize for the lagging on my side. So actually we have Christina who has asked a question. I think it's directed at Maureen. So with your experience, Maureen, how have the conversations changed internally after the pandemic with remote work?
That's interesting. So I think it's a mixed bag. I think there's a hunger to be looking at how we collaborate moving forward, which has been challenging for teams because I don't think they were that great collaborating kind of pre-pandemic. So I think, you know, we're in kind of the messy stage of figuring out how we can collaborate better. But I can attest that most organizations are still very siloed. And while there are conversations going on, they're kind of ad hoc. They're not really captured. They're not codified anywhere. They might be in a PowerPoint or some other static tool. So we all have a lot of work to do there.
And I also have another question. This is to Henrik, a little bit related to this question as well. Are you now inspired from this talk to perhaps implement something differently internally within the organization? Just from talking to Maureen today.
Absolutely. I think I have already have ideas for doing 3 or 4 more silos by the end of the week. But I think we just changed our CRM to a new version where we can unite the commercial teams around it more and plug product in. And so what you're saying here just reinforces that that's the right decision to do, because if your customers, their journey with you is sort of horizontal, right? So they spend a lot of time in your product with your team, etc. across. Then you can't sort of think in silos and transactions. You have to think horizontal. And I think for us, putting the right CRM, right systems in place, at least creates the opportunity to have those conversations across the different streams around the right kind of data. But it is hard, and this takes time because we have to remember to look up from our groove and okay, exactly. So what are we doing over there, and how can this help together, right? So and us as leaders, it's our finest job to create that kind of environment, or create so people know when to do that, and that is difficult. And I do it wrong half of the time, but sometimes I also do it right.
We're forever learning, no
exactly.
matter where we live. Great. So actually our time is soon up, and I just want to say thank you, Maureen, and thank you, Henrik, for giving up 25 minutes of your time today. And we hope to welcome you back. It's been a pleasure. I hope those watching are now inspired to perhaps change things internally, or maybe it just reconciles that you're doing the right thing as well from talking to us today. We actually have our e-commerce corner next on April the 7th, so we hope that you can join us again then. But thank you from us. Thank you, Henrik, and thank you, Maureen.
Pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great day.